Welcome to The Legend of Zelda, The Dungeons of Doom. This is a Legend of Zelda game in Minecraft, and this is going to be the tutorial going over the rules, and hopefully I can make it fun for you guys as well. This is probably the most important video for you to watch, so even if you feel like you're good enough to play the game by itself, I ask that you just watch this video so that all the rules really make sense and that you know exactly what you should be doing. Alright, so this is the difficulty selection. This is where you're going to start out in the map, so go ahead and pick your difficulty. We have Young Link, which is easy mode, Adult Link, which is normal mode, and Master Quest, which is hard mode. And this basically just changes the actual difficulty of Minecraft in the settings. So you can obviously change that whenever you want. It doesn't really change the gameplay at all, it just makes it, you know, harder like it would normally. So once you picked your difficulty, go ahead and press this button, and you will be inside the castle, Hyrule Castle, which is also the tutorial area. Alright, so welcome to my Zelda world. To maximize fun, it's important to follow all the rules to a T. If you cheat, you're only cheating yourself out of the experience, but hopefully you came here to have fun and play by the rules. If not, that's your choice, and I respect that. If you want to truly complete this game right, then there are some wacky guidelines to follow. First off, this is the tutorial. Don't worry, this isn't the whole game. If you make it through here, okay, you should be ready to save Zelda. The next part is the rules. And also, you will be given a book later with the rules in them, and I'll show you that. Alright, so read all the signs, make sure you obey them too. So just make sure you read all the signs and obey them. See, maybe you're walking this way. Oh, I need to read these signs. This is info on multiplayer. And I am playing multiplayer right now. But yeah, so don't break any blocks unless you're told to break blocks. The game mode is in survival. So it's in survival, not adventure, because you have to use items and stuff. And the same goes for breaking blocks. There will be certain items that tell you to break blocks. So you might have one of the items, for example, is flint and steel, and it tells you to burn pink wool. So obviously, in that case, you can use that item. So, honesty system. All the shops run on this. Pay up for what you buy. Do not steal from the shops or the bank. Alright, so there's shops and there's a bank, and I had to use the honesty system because I'm not spending 10 years of my life trying to make some crazy system, because there's like over 500 unique items in this game that we gave unique names and stuff, and it would have just been a whole mess to try to make shops that actually run on shops. And when a lot of this was made, there wasn't even redstone, so that wasn't even a possibility at the time. So we have shops that run on the honesty system. So please don't steal from the shops or the bank. And houses and dungeons have the cash that you can take to pay up. And also at the bank, there's a trade center, and I will go through that as well. And that's how you make a lot of money in this game. So do not buy certain items. Some items you get in dungeons. To restore these items, you buy them in shops, but don't buy unless you've bought them or you've gotten them already. More rules ahead. So, what does that mean? That means, like, let's say there's a bow in a shop. The bow is one of the items you get in the dungeon. And now in the shop, it's going to tell you don't buy the bow unless you've gotten it already. So you have to make sure you have beaten the first dungeon, which has the bow as the item, and then you can buy it at shops. You can't buy it at shops otherwise, because then you'll have the items already and it'll really mess up the dungeons. So make sure that you have the item first, and there will be signs telling you not to buy this unless you've already gotten the item. Alright. Keys are named in some cases so you know where to use them. Many keys in a dungeon are well hidden. If a door says a certain key is needed, you must use that key. So for instance, this says tutorial key on it. It has a specific name. And this says tutorial key is needed to open the door. So I have to use the tutorial key here. I can't use any other key. So you have to use the honesty system again. So now, the last time we uploaded this map, it was completely broken and there were so many things wrong with it. We have hopefully fixed all the problems, and you should not run into that. So if you did play this map before and you ran into all sorts of problems, or you died at the crazy hard tutorial slime battle, I'm sorry, that was way too hard. Yeah, alright. So if the door is not specific, then simply use a lever without a name. So if this was just a random lever and there was no sign here saying that you needed a certain key, then you could just use the random lever. But also, if you get this lever in a certain dungeon, you can only use it in that dungeon unless it's named and it goes somewhere else. I'll show you all that when we go over the first dungeon. Alright, let's go over how much each item is worth. So this is going over money and shops. So this is the shop tutorial. So we have emeralds, which are worth $1 or 1 rupee. We have the iron ingots, which are worth $5 or 5 rupees. Gold ingots, which are $20 or 20 rupees. And diamonds, which are worth 50 rupees. So, you should probably remember these values. To get money from killing enemies, there's a trade shop. Again, that's the bank, and I'll show you guys that. Pigmen also drop gold, so you can use that. That's just money. If they drop it, that's your money. So I'm going to take this iron ingot, or ingot, however you might say it, and I'm going to pay it at the shop. Ta-da! Door magically opens up. Not so magic, and I get the tutorial sword because it costs $5 there. I just showed you how to use the shop. It's not too complicated. There also will be a book that has the values. It's the rule book. It has the values of the money, so if you forget, you can just read the book. Uh-oh, some puzzles require you to use items to solve. The door is far away, but if you shoot the button, the door will open long enough for you to get through. Get the bow and shoot the button. I was playing with a bunch of people on the realm with this world, and they kept pressing the button thinking they had to run all the way there, like they, didn't read. Make sure you read the signs. Again, make sure you read the signs. Here's the bow if you couldn't find it. Some people had a hard time finding the bow. It's right here. If you can't find the bow, then don't even try this game. It's gonna be too hard. Alright. So that opens the door, and I can have plenty of time to run through. Alright. Let's get this ladder. Important note, in dungeons there are keys you must use. Those keys in the same dungeon you got them. I already went over that. The only exception is if you get the keys after beating the boss as the reward. So the dungeons will have a reward at the end, and oftentimes it'll be a key. Basically just use your brain. A lot of times, use your brain, it's not too complicated. So, in this game, there's a lot of times where ladders will be keys. You'll see like odd colored blocks like that with ladders either on top, or it'll be like, sometimes I know it says not to break ladders, I'm just trying to show you something. It'll be like this, and so you put the 2 ladders there. So don't make ladders by crafting, and don't break the ladders and take them with you. So like, don't do this and then be like, oh, I'm gonna shift and break the ladder and take it with me or whatever. Don't do that. Oh, did I lock you out? Yeah, you can get back up there. Alright. I want to eat some food real quick. Always eat your bread. Alright, leather. Armor? Alright, now for a practice boss fight against the slime, the most dreaded enemy of all time. Boss fights are new to this update, and some require you to turn your render distance to 16. If that causes too much, just turn it back down. So if you have a lot of lag, obviously you probably put your render distance to like 2 or something. There are like 2 bosses in the game that will tell you to put your render distance to 16 or above. If your render distance is bigger than 16, you literally don't have to ever worry about any of this, alright? So, because I had one guy ask if he had to make his render distance 16 because he was used to it being like 100 or something. No, you don't if it's over 16. So these are spawn points. You'll see command blocks with like just a button there. Sometimes it'll say it is a spawn point, sometimes it won't. Just make sure you press those. Sometimes you'll see them. Now if they're at the very end of the dungeon after you beat the boss, they are not spawn points, they are exit buttons. And so make sure you get the treasure before you exit, and I'll go over that too when we beat one of the dungeons. Alright, only the player closest to the button gets the checkpoint. So that's important to remember. I use the spawn point at P command. I don't make it at everyone because that would be weird. So just make sure that every player gets a chance to be the closest to the button and press it if you're doing multiplayer. If not, then you obviously don't have to worry about that. Alright, let's go to the boss. Let me equip my armor real quick. Not that I really need it, it's just a slime. Oh no, the dreaded slime! As you can see, I made it a lot easier from last time because people kept complaining about all the deaths they had. Oh, we already beat him. Oh wait, no, I hear something. No, he's dead. Okay. Only go through when you've beaten the boss. I beat the boss. Alright. Mob griefing is false and keep inventory is true. So if you die, don't worry. You'll still have all your stuff. And mob griefing's off, so don't worry about creepers blowing anything up. Alright. So if you keep dying, just keep trying. That's a good saying, right? Alright. If you died on the first boss, probably just don't play this game. You're going to die out way too much. Or just keep at it a lot.
Turn down the difficulty.
Yeah, well, if you're... Yeah, but even on easy, some of these bosses are hard. Alright, so here's the spawn point. Again, just going over that. If you're doing multiplayer, right. So this is the Compass Help Center. So this is something I added because everyone was getting lost. So you can press this button and it'll change. See, it just changed my set world spawn to the Help Center. So now I can walk over to the Help Center. And in the Help Center, it has a bunch of these command blocks that'll all set your world spawn to where they are at. Alright. So let's go ahead and get some of these books. This is what I was talking to you about earlier. We have the Money Guide, which just gives you information on the money. We have the Dungeons of Doom, which is a guidebook, goes back through all the rules, and gives you some general information about some of the dungeons. So you can look at that. We have the story, which I'm not going to really go over right now, but this gives all the information of the story and how it fits into the Zelda timeline if you're interested in that. We also have Banana Man, which is a secret book for a secret little Easter egg I hid in the map. Hopefully you can find him. There's information on how to find him in this book. Alright. This is your castle link, Navi. Oh, I forgot to put the clothes back. Link's clothes. Well, you'll have Link's clothes, but I don't. Alright. Because we were testing this map out before. Anyways, I have the Korok's blade. Get some supplies. You can find some stuff in here. There'll just be some food. There'll be Link's clothes, swords. This is where you'll store some important items. If you need to store keys, I'm just trying to help you organize, so you don't have to store your stuff there. There's also ender chests all around the map that you can store your stuff if you need quick access to it, like maybe some of your key items, like levers with certain names on them that you don't know where to use yet. You can put them there. There's some money. This is where you put all your money. You don't have to listen to these signs and put your stuff there, but you should obey the signs and put your stuff there. It helps you keep you organized. All right. So, one quick information tidbit about the spawners. We have mob spawners, and there's one villager spawner, and if the villagers are just causing you a lot of lag, come back into the observatory, which is this room. It's right next to Link's house, and you can just break that there. I'm running this on the computer, so I don't have any trouble, but if you're like on a low-end iPhone or iPod or iPad, you're probably going to get some lag. So I'd suggest go ahead and breaking that, because it just spawns so many villagers. I can't control how many it spawns, and it drives me crazy, but oh well. So here are some of the shops. We have the dye shop. You can dye your clothes for like 5 rupees. We have the Hylian Armory, which has like your enchanted weapons. So it has some of the more higher grade weapons. We got royal armor with different stuff. We have soldier swords. A good sword at the beginning of the game would probably be the knight sword. I suggest you buy that if you really want a good sword. It's only 200 rupees. We have sacred armor, some of the best armor in the game. So lots of different stuff here that you can go and look around. The prices here are pretty high though. So we also have, let's see here, we have the repair shop. This is where you'll go to repair your item. You can buy leather here, and of course you get money in the game like diamonds, gold ingots, and iron ingots. And you can use the anvils to repair them. If you need experience, because you need experience to repair, you just click the switch and it'll give you 1,000 levels, which should be plenty. Alright. The food store. Here's where you can come and get some food. Free mushroom soup just for coming in, and I also added beetroot soup. Alright, so you'll find boxes like this. This is just a pay box, so you buy something, you put the money in here. But if you put the money in the same box as the food items, I mean, that's fine too, I guess. Alright, and then on the second floor you will have 4 more shops. We'll have the shield shop, where there's shields. So that's new, that's been added. Find potions and stuff. Potion shop, this is like the cheap armor shop, so these ones don't have enchantments, but it's really cheap, 20 armor, iron armor 20 apiece. Also really cheap food, but you don't get to pick what kind of food it is. Stuff like that. And we also have the mask shop, which these are all Zelda enemy names, but it's just, you know, wither skeleton, stuff like that. All the different masks. Alright. So that's all the shops in this area. This is like the main shop hub. But there is a few more shops sprinkled around. So I'm going to go to the bank next, which is actually this way. Good grief, all these villagers. Alright, so this is like the open square, and here we have the bank and the schoolhouse. Which the schoolhouse is an important building, and you'll see that in the next video. So, here we have the trade center. You take 64 mobs drops, and you can trade them for, you can put them up here, and you can trade them for 2 diamonds. So it's 100 rupees for 64 mob drops, or you can trade, like, let's say this is rotten flesh right here, 15 mob drops for 15 rupees. So unless it's a full stack, you trade a 1-to-1 ratio. If it's a full stack, you get 100 for 64. So obviously it's better to trade full stacks. So that's for the only mob drops. You can only trade mob drops, not food, because otherwise you could buy food cheap from the shops and then sell it for more money than it's worth, which doesn't make any sense, so you can't do that. That would be cheating. Alright, we also have a ton of different buildings around the place and probably way too many torches, so we have the inn, stuff like that. This big white building right here is the King's Palace, and we'll go to that in the next tutorial. But before I go there, I'm going to show you the help center. So, yeah, we're just going to go over the main basic things that you need to know in this video, and we're going to go through the actual game tutorials in the next video. And the following videos as well. Alright, so here's the equipment shop. This sells equipment. We have, here you can see it says must have beaten Dungeon 1 to buy, must have beaten Dungeon 2 to buy, and so on and so forth. Just listen to those signs and read them verbatim, but if you need more of the like items you find in the dungeon, then that's where you can go buy them. And finally, we have the help center, which also has the mob killer on the bottom floor. Just ignore that for the time being and go up to the help center. This is just going to, like I said, set the world spawn wherever. So let's say I wanted to know where Dungeon 1 is. Click on that. Oh, it's apparently this way. It's right over there somewhere. And that'll just take you to the entrance to the dungeon. It's not necessarily going to take you to the middle of the dungeon or anything like that. So sometimes the entrance might be in a really weird place. So you're wondering if it's broken or not. No, it's not broken. I made sure all these work correctly. So don't worry about that, and hopefully you can find some of the more secret entrances. Alright. That's going to conclude this video. Thank you so much for coming and watching this today. If you need more information, you can watch the following videos. If you need help on any dungeon, just look up the dungeon in the playlist. And thank you for watching. If you like this video, you can like it. If you have any more questions, just comment. And if you want to subscribe. Alright, thank you so much. Bye.